Hey folks, welcome to another edition of Play Branson, where you get to know Branson's entertainers better. And for the first time on the show today, I have Dana and Dan Embree. And they are with the WhoDunnit ShowDown murder mystery and then the Funny Farm dinner feud out at Shepherd of the Hills. And I think you're going to really enjoy listening to them and getting to know their history and background. Very excited to talk to them about that. Now, some of you have probably been saying, what's new in Branson? What's changed in Branson for 2022? And we really haven't talked about that too much on the show, but I do want to highlight a few things. So if you're living somewhere else and you don't know about all the changes, here's a few changes that have occurred since 2021. Rick Thomas is back at the Andy Williams Moon River Theater. And also moving over to the Andy Williams Moon River Theater is the Liverpool Legends. They have moved there and they will open their show in May. Escape Reality Magic and Illusions dinner show has moved to the Hughes Brothers Theater. They were there on Highway 165 at the Branson Central Theater, and so they've moved over there. Here's something I'm really excited about. Shoji Tabuchi is coming back to Branson. He is going to be actually at the Little Opry Theater starting on April 20th. Be playing Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m. And he'll also be doing some Saturdays.
There are so many things to do in Branson. You need help planning and booking all your fun. You need iBranson.com. You can find everything Branson has to offer from your computer, tablet, or cell phone. You can even buy tickets online or talk to one of their friendly Branson travel specialists. There's no sales pitches, no delivery fees, no service fees, and no waiting. It's fast and easy. Find your fun at iBranson.com. Do it all online or call 877-ENTERTAIN. That's 877-368-3782. iBranson.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. And on today's show, for the first time ever, I have Dana and Dan Embree. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks.
So it's good to have you guys here. And we want to go back. And first of all, we do need to say that you guys are in a couple of shows out at Shepherd of the Hills.
Right.
And we're going to talk about those. But I want to go back and get your history on how you got into the show business. What have you done? And so you just lay it out there for us.
Okay.
Take it away.
All right. I'm originally from St. Louis. I always wanted to perform. I used to give shows at home to my folks. My first job was at Six Flags over Mid-America in Eureka, there by St. Louis. And I worked there for a couple years. I was also a cheerleader for the Cardinals, the football Cardinals that were still in St. Louis at the time. Worked at Union Station when they had shows, worked at the Robert E. Lee Dinner Theater when they were still around on the riverfront, and then wound up, we used to vacation in Branson all the time. So we would go to Shepherd of the Hills and Silver Dollar City. So after I graduated college, my mom said, hey, why don't you go check out what's in Branson? So came down, auditioned at Shepherd of the Hills, wound up working there, playing Sammy Lane in the nighttime show. Really loved it, loved the people, loved the area, felt like home, and really enjoyed it. Wound up meeting this fellow right here at Silver Dollar City. We had actually met prior to that when he was working at Shoji's. But we wound up being cast in a show together at Silver Dollar City called the Showdown, which our current director for that show, our current director at Funny Farm and Murder Mystery was our director for that show.
That's right.
Yeah, Jay McFerrin.
Yes, and by the way, we've had, if you go back and look last year, we did interview Jay last year.
Okay.
So, legend in Branson.
Yes,
yeah.
he is.
Yes.
He's done a lot of stuff. Very creative guy. So we started dating, and before you know it, we were married.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, there you go. Not sure what we were thinking, but anyway, wound up working at Silver Dollar City for a very long time. We did shows, like I said, there it was at the Riverfront Playhouse at the time. I also worked in the saloon as a saloon girl 14 years. I have the knees to prove it.
That's a long time.
It's a very long time.
A lot of can-cans.
A lot of can-cans, yes. And also was Mrs. Cratchit for Christmas at a Dickens Christmas Carol for 17 years. And did several other shows out there. Really love Silver Dollar City. And
wow.
Yeah.
So a lot of history there.
Yes.
Dan, kind of talk about your history as well.
I got interested in theater in high school. I grew up in Sedalia, and like Dana, as a kid, used to come down to Branson with my folks, on vacations. So anyway, my first professional job out of high school was a singing bartender in the Silver Dollar Saloon show at Silver Dollar City, which was brand new that year. Long time ago. And I ended up working summers at Silver Dollar City while I was going to college, and just felt like this was home, so I settled here. Put in a lot of seasons at Silver Dollar City, and then did some of the shows on the Strip as a comedian. I was in Shad Heller's Toby show as Toby for several years.
The original
Toby show. Yeah.
Right.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, the old Corn Crib Theater
Yeah.
on the Strip there. Yeah, and then I was comedian for the Wilkinson Brothers show. The Wilkinson Brothers built the theater that is currently occupied by the Duttons. I was at a show in Eureka Springs for a couple of years called the Ozark Mountain Hoedown. I was with Shoji Tabuchi the first couple of years. He had his own show as a comedian, ensemble singer, dancer, and backup MC. And, oh gosh, it gets a little hazy.
You did the mansion.
I worked
Yes.
at the mansion for several years, yes. Did a
Yeah.
show there called Celebrate America, and was also in The Promise, a musical about the life of Jesus. I played a Pharisee.
Yeah.
I was one of the bad
Bad
guys.
guys.
Yeah. And then I had here Trost Moving Pictures, but that was also a show. I mean, they were a show here in town. That
Right.
wasn't the name of the show, but
Right. That was a production company that brought a Christmas show to town that was a stage version of a movie they had made called A Christmas Snow. And I was in that for a year with Muse Watson and Catherine Stewart. And that was a lot of fun. But I only did that for 1 year because the following year I auditioned for a Christmas show at Silver Dollar City, which I did for 8 years, called It's a Wonderful Life, in which I played mean old Mr. Potter.
yeah. Are you the guy that's sitting behind the desk and saying, "I want more money"?
That was me.
That was you.
Yeah,
I remember that. This guy is good. Like, yeah, I want more money. Yes.
I got to do a
I
song
loved it.
and dance number in a wheelchair.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, like, both of you really have seen a lot of things in this community and a lot of change.
A
and
lot.
you've played a lot of roles. You know?
Yeah, my initial interest was in theater, but when I started working in Branson, I became more of a comedian. Although I tried to get away from that. I worked for several years outside of Branson, although we kept a home here, working in dinner theaters and touring companies and so forth. But that meant being away from home for weeks at a time. So, I came home and, came back home and got steady work here.
Yeah. So, how long now have you guys been at Shepherd of the Hills?
This is our 4th year
At the Playhouse.
at the Playhouse.
Yeah, we've also done
We've been in the outdoor
drama as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Now, are you still doing anything at Silver Dollar City, or just only at Shepherd?
Only at Shepherd.
Only at Shepherd, yeah.
Okay.
In fact, I got my official retirees pass from Silver Dollar City not too long ago.
Same here.
Wow. Well, I think you guys have earned it based on what you told me and how long you've performed there. And really, Silver Dollar City has been very influential in the entertainment community here.
Oh, very much so. Very much so.
Last month we had D.A. Calloway on. If you haven't seen that episode, go check it out. But just the number of people that kind of what I'd say filter through Silver Dollar City and then go even to other places in Branson here has really been huge.
Oh, it's been
Yes.
amazing.
And I mean, you guys are another example of that. As you were at Silver Dollar City and now you're somewhere else, and so it definitely happens. We're going to come back here in just a second, and we're going to hear about these shows they're in out at Shepherd of the Hills. So hang tight. We'll be back in just a minute.
Branson's #1 new murder mystery show, The Biggest Swing Ding in These Parts, takes a hilariously dark turn when legendary fiddler Squeaky Bowman meets his mysterious demise. Over a down-home meal, our kooky characters unravel the mystery, and the list of suspects is longer than a mule's tail. Come have a delicious dinner, lots of laughs, and who knows, you might figure out who done it. Use your fancy pocket computer phone to find showtimes on shepherdofthehills.com. The WhoDunnit ShowDown, located inside of the Playhouse Dinner Theater at Shepherd of the Hills.
Hey folks, welcome back to Play Branson, and we are talking with Dana and Dan Embree, and they are in 2 shows, and I'm going to try and get this right, the WhoDunnit ShowDown Murder Mystery and the Funny Farm Dinner Feud. So let's take the first one, let's take the WhoDunnit ShowDown Murder Mystery, and talk to us about this show. Maybe someone's never been, they've never heard of it. Like, what is this show?
Well, it's basically a comedy show disguised as a murder mystery. We're starting our 3rd season, and it's been very successful. It's a birthday party for Aunt Belle, who's a beloved local character, and the entertainment Squeaky Bowman, who was hired for the show, doesn't arrive. He's been done in, and we get our suspects from the audience. And but it's really a lot of old style comedy. Kind of a throwback to the kind of stuff that our director, Jay McFerrin, and I used to see as kids, like, Red Skelton or those old Carol Burnett show skits or that sort of thing. And we have a insanely talented, funny guy on stage with us named Mike Tilden, who we just kind of turn him loose. You never really know. Our script is just sort of a guideline.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
So it's
So there's a lot of ad lib, is what you're saying.
It tends to be a little ad libbing. Yeah.
Yes, but that's what makes it fun, I think. Right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what makes it fun for us, because it's never exactly the same twice.
Yeah. So people are getting a meal, right?
Right.
And what's that meal consist of? Do you know? Or should have I asked that question?
Really good warm food.
Well, the food is really good. They have a different menu for every show we do in the Playhouse Theater, because in addition to our 2 shows, there's also a Chuck Wagon dinner show coming up, opening April 20th, opened April 20th. And, what else? There's going to be other shows in there. For Christmas season, we'll have some different shows.
Right.
Anyway, different menu for every show. I don't remember off the top of my head what the menu is for the.
That's okay. That's okay. You're worried about entertaining, not feeding, right?
The food is really good.
Yeah.
There are a lot of good comments.
So in this show, it's funny, it's murder mystery, and it's crowd participation.
Right.
And so, can you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, go ahead.
Oh,
I've been doing all the talking.
No, as far as crowd participation, we select 4 suspects that we bring up, and they're brought up a couple times and grilled, so to speak. The audience does get to participate as far as just being out there and kind of being that other performer, actually, that we can feed off of too, with what they say and what they do.
It's loose enough that the people in the audience sometimes feel free to kind of comment on what's going on.
So you get some banter maybe from the audience.
Oh,
That's what I like.
And that just gives us more fuel.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about this other show too, the Funny Farm Dinner Feud. So what the heck is that?
Well, that's 2 feuding hillbilly families that are actually engaging in a talent contest to try to settle their feud.
Okay.
But before it's all over, we also recruit people from the audience as our cousins to come up and engage in some games of skill to help settle the feud.
Okay, and so it's funny.
Yes.
It's funny, right?
Yeah, it's funny, but there are also some musical numbers.
Yes.
And then there's a section of the show where we get audience members up, and it's sort of like a game show.
Okay. So Once again, it's a meal included.
Right.
And so pretty much everything in that playhouse includes a meal.
Right.
Yes.
And see, I always believe, until someone tells me otherwise, is that when people go on vacation, they wanted unique experiences when they go to eat.
Right.
And so this is an opportunity where people can go, they can eat somewhere, and they can get a show. And these shows are not anywhere else in the world, right?
Absolutely.
So this is the only place in the world that you can see these shows. And I mean, you think about it, like, that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. You know?
It really is. It's funny to me that the dinner show concept is catching on like it is, because back in the early 80s, I was in a show at a theater called Banjo's Dinner Theater. And it was the same concept with a standard Branson style music show, and it didn't catch on back then. I remember tickets were like $12, and people were unwilling to shell out that much, even though it was for dinner and a show at the time. Mm-hmm. But I think it was just a little bit ahead of its time back then. Right. But the dinner show concept is really catching on now, and we're riding that pony.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. and really, if folks, if you haven't been out to Shepherd of the Hills, of course, they do still have the outdoor drama, but they've added so much to the complex there. Whether it's the Playhouse Theater, the Shepherd's Meal, they've got the roller coaster out there. They've got zip lines. I mean, there's just so much more out at Shepherd of the Hills, and they've invested a lot of money. And I know I drove by there a couple of weeks ago, and when I drove by, it was packed. And so I think the shows are catching on. People are finding out about them. Who doesn't want to laugh on vacation?
Absolutely.
Like, that's like, sometimes I always tell people is you do not know why people are going on vacation. You don't know what's going on at home, and like, people need that break. And you guys then just help make it even better, because laughing is good for the soul.
Right.
You know.
And I've always loved making people laugh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to do as much as I can.
You have the ability to really get into some crazy characters. Like, I think if people saw you just sitting here, they don't realize how crazy you can be. Right?
Yeah, I could probably pass myself off as an insurance salesman if I needed to.
Yeah. Yeah. Do y'all have any kids?
We do.
Yeah. Are they in the business?
No.
They're smarter than we
are. And they did, we have a daughter, Kelly, and a son, Max. And in high school, Kelly did perform. She was Audrey in Little Shop of Horrors, and she was in show choir. Our son was in show choir. But yeah, they decided, no, we're not gonna go that route.
Do something else.
Yeah.
So when you guys aren't performing, what do you like to do in Branson?
We like to go to as many of the restaurants as we can.
We do.
We like the dining scene in Branson pretty well.
Yes.
Okay.
And we just like we have a lot of friends and other shows that when we do have a night off, sometimes we like to go catch another show, or sometimes we go to Springfield and catch a little theater show, or Springfield Contemporary Theater, something like that.
So folks, if you like to dine in Branson, be sure to go to bransonrestaurants.com. Brand new website, just launched recently. You can find lots of coupons there. And if you're a local, we encourage you to check out thediningpassport.com, where you can save on a lot of restaurants as well. Our show's over for the day. We're going to wrap it up. Thanks so much for coming in, guys. We appreciate having you here. So we'll be back in just a moment to wrap this show up. Stay tuned. Hey folks, welcome back to the show. Thanks for watching the show today. Be sure to go check out the Embrees out at Shepherd of the Hills. They're at the WhoDunnit ShowDown Murder Mystery Show. It's going to be a lot of fun. Or you can also see them at the Funny Farm Dinner Feud. Now, those shows kind of alternate dates. Right now, most of all those shows are at 7:30 at night. And then the schedule does change. So Sometimes you'll see some of these shows at 5 o'clock. So if you want a unique dining experience, be sure to check both of these shows out. You're going to have a great time. The Embrees are really well-seasoned entertainers here in town. They've done a lot of things over the years. Now, if you're sitting in Chicago or Dallas or LA or New York and you're like, I want to come to Branson, there's one place you can go to plan it all, and that's ibranson.com. Those folks can help you plan your entire vacation. You can book it all online, shows, attraction, lodging, dining, certificates, or you can call them at 1-877-ENTERTAIN. Those people will help you plan your entire Branson vacation. It's local service from local folks, and they can help you plan because it can be tough sometimes. Guess what? Next week's entertainer is Conor Finn. Never have interviewed him. I've never met him, but he is with Sight and Sound Theaters and one of the entertainers over at Sight and Sound. So I'm really excited to talk to him. This will be the only second time that we've had somebody from Sight and Sound on the show. So be sure to tune in next week for Conor Finn. Thanks for watching and have a great week.